Are you ready for a word? All right. Let's go to the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25. I want to read verse 25. And this is the expression and the explanation of the unprofitable servant. And Yeshua says this to the audience in front of him, and he says, "And I was afraid and went and hid your talent in the ground. Look, there you have what is yours." One more time. "And I was afraid." Again, this is the unprofitable servant. "And I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. There you have what is yours." Take your seats. Our passage is an excerpt from the parable of talents, wherein the master delivers authority and allotment into the hands of his servants. Say, he put it in our hands. Yeah. So he puts this authority and allotment into the hands of his servants. Two of the three servants mentioned evidently understood the assignment of investment. So when the master delivers goods, because that's what the text tells us, he delivers goods into our hands. Say, goods have been placed in my hand. Goods have been placed in our hands. And so the master delivers goods into the hands. Now these goods are talents. And these talents are currency. And what do we mean by currency? We mean that which is valuable, that which is usable, that which is profitable. It has the capacity to be profitable. So he's placed this in his servant's hands. And two of the three understand the assignment. But you got one servant. You have one servant who chose inaction. Here's a key note. The enterprise of investment factors in the master's evaluation. So you got to understand that every investment that the master puts into your hands, there's an evaluation of that investment that's going to follow. Sometimes it's going to follow immediately. The ultimate thing is going to follow at the time of judgment. Does that make sense? At the time of evaluation upon his return. And so attainment is the distinction between faithful servants and unprofitable servants. So he's looking for that investment. He's looking for increase. Somebody say he's looking for increase. He's looking for gains to be made, and so attainment of these gains is the distinction between faithful servants and unprofitable servants. For the yielded, our compass, our instrument of guidance, you know that's what a compass is. It's an instrument of guidance. Our compass is always pointed towards the truth. You know, a compass always points towards true north. Well, our compass is always pointing. It always points in truth's direction. Does that make sense? And so the truth is, action and inaction bear their respective results. And so we got to understand whether we do something or whether we don't do something, both bear results. Our interests, be it action or inaction, is backed and led by our value system. Here we go. Is backed by our value system. The truth is, our value system either advances us or it costs us. Say, my value system is going to advance me or it's going to cost me. Follow me here. Incentives galvanize enterprise. I'll say it again, incentives galvanize enterprise. I saw a quote somewhere along these lines that, incentives get people to work harder. And so a lot of times when you have an incentive, right, if you know that there's a promotion on the line, chances are you're going to work even harder than maybe even if you are a hard worker consistently. If you know that there's a promotion on the line, chances are you're going to turn it up a notch. Am I right about it? So even if you're consistent, I'm not talking about somebody who hasn't been working. I'm talking about even a consistently hard worker. When they understand that there's a promotion on the line, what are they going to do? They're going to work harder. Why? To ensure that they're eligible for the promotion, because they can't guarantee it. I know if I'm not working hard, I'm going to be ineligible if I don't apply. And so there's no promotion that never came without application. Most positions, I won't say because nepotism exists, but you know what I'm saying, most positions that are filled are based on some sort of application. You did some type of interview, and the person who was hiring you, based on your interview and what they were looking for, decided to put you to work. Does that make sense? Your credentials, etc. So you had to apply yourself. And so when we look at that application and we're saying, okay, what is the master looking for me to apply? He's looking for us to apply his interest. He's looking for us to apply and invest his interest because the currency belongs to him. Say, the currency belongs to him. He put it in my hands. Your gifting, guess what he did? He put it in your hands. Your anointing, guess what he did? He put it in your hands. The grace, guess what he did? He put it in your hands. The blessings, guess what he did? Your ability, guess what he did? He put it in your hands, watch this, so he puts it in our hands so that we can do what we will. And that's the truth of it. He puts it in our hands. No, I'm not going to double back and change. No, I meant what I said. He puts it in our hands to do our will. We please him when our will is his will. What we can do with it, say what we will. So watch this. We can do with the currency what we will. Okay. And so when we realize that incentives galvanize enterprise, get this, value directs venture. Typically, what we're going to do is we're going to invest our time and etc. We're going to invest our value in the things. We're going to venture into the avenue. If you're interested in going somewhere after service or whatever have you, your mind is going to start ticking at the end of service. Okay, how do we get there? Even if it's going home. Right? Because your value is like, okay, I've gotten my message for today, or whatever it was that we were realizing. When we're ready to move on to the next thing, there's an incentive behind it, right? Sometimes, let's break it down real simple. Sometimes the incentive to go home is because you're tired, right? I'm going home because I'm tired. So the incentive is to get home. Why? So I can rest. That's the incentive. That's how simple incentives can be. I just want to make it real practical, right? And so incentives don't always have to be monetized. They just always have to be valuable. Are you following what I'm saying? I'll keep going. And so, if you would, that these incentives calculate the factor of worth. And the question is it worth it to you? Because, by the way, worth is in the eye of the appraiser. I can't tell you there are certain things, right? So this is my father's ring. So this means more to me than probably anybody. Do you understand? Not because it's gold, not because it has some jewels in it, but because of who it belonged to. And so watch this. It wouldn't matter what financial state that I would get into. You couldn't get me to pawn this off, because watch this, it ain't worth it. You understand what I'm saying? This to me is priceless. The only other person that's going to get this is my son when I leave this place. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And not, I mean, most of y'all know I'm not really a jewelry type of person. You know? I'm not knocking it, I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. But I'm saying it's not what it's made out of. If not the appearance to anyone else, is what it's worth to me. So watch this. When the master puts something in your hands, what is it worth? Because other people may not see it with that same value, but what is it worth? And sometimes when we go gift comparing and we go position comparing, right? We start grace envying and all that stuff. We're looking at it as if the Father hasn't given us, the Master haven't given us value from his own hands. Say, I have value from his own hands. I'm trying to teach, but I have value from his own hands. But it's, watch this, how I invest it is based on how I see it. It is valuable, but the question for me is, will I use it? And how will I use it, if I use it at all? Are you with me so far? And so, as a note, the full measure of true worth is reserved for the master. So we know the end-all, be-all assessor of what is worth and what is worthless, that's up to the master. But that's in the final judgment. That's upon his return. Don't miss this. Faithful servants are incentivized by faithful service. Let me say this again. Faithful servants are incentivized by faithful servants. I'm going to use a living example. We tried to bless Pastor Postel and she wasn't having it. No. We gave us, she wouldn't even do it. That's all right. I got one for you that you can't undo. But I got your number. I got your number. I do. I got her. I know exactly how to navigate around that one right there. And it literally just came to me. Thank you, Holy Ghost. So, but my point is that she does what she does because the service is worth it. Not the, watch this, not the applause. Not the pats on, not the applause, not the pat on the back, not the affirmation. And see, when we start, watch this, when we start orienting ourselves around other folks' affirmation, that's where we, and I mean this literally, lose out. Because the truth of the matter is, they don't know your worth. Let me keep moving. So the faithful servants are incentivized by a faithful servant. And I was looking at the text and I was like, okay, for the two servants, what is it that made them immediately go into investment? Because we don't get what the master's, all the master does is give them goods into their hands. And two servants, the faithful ones, move immediately without further instruction. Why? How is it that they move immediately without further instructions? Because they know the master's value. Watch this, because they know the master's intent. They know what their master, watch this, they know their master's expectation. We always want the Lord, we want the master to fulfill our expectations. What happens when the master has his own expectations? Do we even know what they are? Because when you know what they are and you are faithful to what they are, then you're going to faithfully go about doing what he is interested in doing. Watch this. Your will is now going to be surrendered to his. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And so we are unprofitable when we are unwilling to yield our will. Boy, that's layered. And so watch this. We are incentivized, faithful servants are incentivized by faithful service because it is founded, our faithful service is founded and facilitated in love, truth, honor, and appreciation. I can't get away from it. You hear what I'm saying? And so watch this. Why am I doing this? Anytime you find yourself, watch this, unable to find a blessing, so to speak, or able to find something tangible to say why you're still following in this way we call the kingdom, in this way we call faith. Why am I doing it when I don't see evidence? Because it's hard. It's hard to press on when you don't see evidence. It doesn't mean it's not there, we just don't see it. Right? So where do I do it from? We talked about this before, so I push through. But I got to do it from a place that doesn't need anything else. I got to do it from love. Because love doesn't need anything to be itself. I got to do it from a place of truth because truth doesn't need anything to be itself. I got to do it from a place of honor because honor doesn't need anything to be itself. And quiet as it's kept, neither does appreciation. Because watch this, I can appreciate you just for being you. When you're in relationship, right relationship, covenant relationship with somebody, they need not do something for you to do something for them. You understand what I'm saying? And that's how we honor folks. It's like, I don't need, watch this, I'm not looking for reciprocity when I honor you. Because what is my incentive? Honor. What is my incentive? Appreciation. And what is appreciation? Gratefulness and gainfulness. I want to add something to you. You know what I'm saying? Even, and in our situation, even when I already know I can't give enough, I can't thank him enough, but it ain't gonna stop me from trying. You know what I mean? There's not, I can do everything right for the rest of my life and never commit another sin. Never make another misstep, right? Teach everything accurately according to the original text, and I still couldn't thank him enough. Win souls every day. Every time I blink, somebody just can say, "Hi," you say, "Bye," you say, "Bye," and it's still. That's a lot of blinking. Huh? I know some of y'all like, man, I wish I had that too. I just be blinking at these hard-headed heathen. Get right with God. Right? But even if that happened, you hear what I'm saying? So the reward, if you will, for the servant is service. Because we realize we are in a privileged position. Here's the issue. The unprofitable servant's value system is spun by fear. Spun meaning it's twisted, it's disfigured, it's disoriented, it's perverted by fear. And the text tells us his explanation, really his excuse, but his explanation to the master is, I was afraid. Can I tiptoe over here real quick? You know who you didn't get that from. The master, I know the text says God. I know it says Yah, I get it. The master does not give unto us the spirit of fear, so where did you get that from? He gives us the power of love and a what? So a sound mind, watch this, a sound mind isn't one that denies that fear tries to creep in. That's not it. We're not going to sit up here and be like, oh, I've never experienced fear. That's a lie. It's just that I don't let fear rule me. I see fear, right? And then I rebuke it. It's when we let fear lead us. And that is the issue with this unprofitable servant. That he has allowed, watch this is how twisted this really is. He has allowed fear to become his incentive. You know how I can tell you? Because he thinks doing nothing is profitable. It's deception at its most deceitful, right? So, listen close. Fear injects deficit. Fear injects deficit in principle, and I'm talking along financial lines here, but I want you to hear me scripturally and spiritually as well. In principle, certain injection can introduce and or increase a debt burden. I say it again. I know you did a counter. You feel me what I'm saying? So certain ingestion can introduce or inject a debt burden. For instance, one detriment is loss of credit worthiness. So watch this. If you are overspending, what happens to your credit score? Because what are they looking at? They're looking at your debt to income ratio. And your debt to income ratio determines whether you can get more credit or you can get no more credit. Am I lying about it? Anybody ever had too much money on your name and you had to go get a cosigner? Okay. Huh? You had to put it in somebody else's name because your credit was too low to... Here it is that this servant, y'all hearing what I'm saying? This servant has a credit worthiness problem. The master calls him worthless. It's not me. I'm just saying. Like, you ain't worthy. You wicked. That may be blunt, but that's what the text tells us, right? And so consider this. Excessive debt is mostly caused by poor currency measurement. By poor currency management. Lord help me. Let me say it again. Excessive debt is mostly caused by poor currency management. I wonder how many folks who consider themselves as yielded really have poor currency management. What are you doing with the currency that the master put in your hands? And some of us are like, well, I'm just waiting to do something with it. I wonder, did that unprofitable servant thought that he was just going to wait it out? Because that's what he did he not? I'm just going to wait it out. And I'm going to give him what he gave me. No, that wasn't the assignment. The assignment is not to give him what he gave you. The assignment is to give him more. Say, the assignment is to give him more. This is kingdom teaching, you understand what I'm saying? It's not just giving him what he gave me, it's giving him more. Understand this, I can't give him more if he gives me nothing. So he's not asking me to do something that is undoable. He's saying, look, I'm going to give you something that you don't have in and of yourself. Say currency. Without me, you have none. With me, not only can you have some, but depending on how you work it, you can have more. Because I can skip to the end because I know where I'm going, but if I can skip to the end real quick, he'll say, hey, look, for the servant that refused to use what I gave him, watch this, it's still valuable. I just got to put it in somebody else's hands. Oh, God help my soul. Watch this. When you are not using what God has placed into your hands, trust me, he will find somebody else. Because there are faithful servants yet serving in the kingdom, and we give the Lord praise. I dare somebody bold enough to say, put it in my hands. What did you do with the last thing, though? Are you hearing what I'm saying? And so, when he puts it in our hands and he wants us to do something with it, we got to understand and be aware of these things that can deceive us and drive us away from what he wants us to do. So consider this also, just as fidelity will increase profitability, fear will increase deficit. Say it works the same way. So watch this. You're investing one way or another, even if you do. Watch this. You're getting an increase either way. It just depends on which way we're going. Are we gaining or are we losing? But increase, okay, anybody ever had an issue with that? And you had one of them crazy percentages? You know, 15, 14, 17, 24%. Huh? And you try to make the minimum payment, and the minimum payment don't even knock down the principal. Are you hear what I'm saying? Oh, why? They love, watch this. The credit companies love for you to pay the minimum. So does the devil. You hear what I'm saying? Oh, watch this. The devil will give you all you ask for. Oh, we act like the devil didn't offer to Christ what he could give him. The devil, watch this. The devil was not lying to Yeshua about what he could do. He was just trying to deceive him with what he could do. There's a difference. Revelation says that the devil will give the dragon power, so if you think I'm tripping, it's the whole book, the whole thing. I like to come in a volume of the book. Let me stay in the text, though. Are you with me so far? The text reveals the unprofitable servant is experiencing fear, and fear has deceived him into inaction. Because what fear produces is paralysis. When you are scared, you ever seen one of them scary movies, and some of y'all done lived them. But you ever seen them scary movies, and you see whatever the villain or monster is coming towards the person, and the person can't move. And the thing, you know what I'm saying? Mr. Voorhees, for those of y'all who know what I'm talking about. Mr. Voorhees don't never run and catch everybody. Ain't nothing moving that slow, Jason, y'all. I was trying not to advertise a horror film in the Lord's church, but we got to make sure that the people know what I'm talking about. Don't ever run. Hardly bend his knees. But the person who's in fear of their life, what they keep doing? Falling down. Hiding in the basement. You gonna corner yourself? Some of y'all seen that commercial where they run into the shed full of chainsaws, and the dude is like, now as silly as that sounds, that's what some of us are doing. Running into a house full of chainsaws. And some of us can't even run because we just locked up because fear has done this to him. And this is what's with this servant here. He's been fearful. Now again, we don't know, we don't even have any indication of how much time was between the master's leaving and the master's returning. However long that time was, that's how long that servant was inactive. Was it a day? Was it a month? Was it a year? Was it over a decade? How long was it that that servant was inactive? Because some of us have been inactive for just as long. Watch this. We haven't lost what God has given us. We just haven't used it. Say, whatever he gave me, I haven't lost it yet. That's the truth. Did not the master, let me go to the parable, did not the master give them something valuable? Two of them used it, one did not. What happened to the one that did not? He lost it. And so whenever the master comes, watch this, and sometimes this is on in a seasonal way, that the master comes back and like, okay, what did you do with that thing that I gave you? Oh, you didn't use it? Give me that. Let me give it to somebody else because I need this to get done. I know how valuable it is. Apparently you don't. You call yourself a servant, but you're not serving. This is why I was kind of wrestling with this because I don't want to seem accusative. But here's the thing, we have to know these things so that, watch this, that when we look at it, we're like, I don't want to be anything like that servant. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I want to be called a faithful servant, so I need to know what faithful servants do. Watch this. And I also need to know how unfaithful servants are deceived. Because servants can be deceived. Lord have mercy. And this servant is not deceived by the devil. He is drawn away of his own fear. It's his own fear. It's his, oh God, projection. That's all fear is. It's a projection. It's what you think is going to happen that you have no idea will or won't. It's a projection. And so now he's afraid of what his master would do. And again, now this is my issue with this particular servant. I know that you reap where you don't sow. Even if that's the case, that doesn't apply in this situation because he did sow. And he came back to the same field that he sowed in. You. So watch this. The master's not coming to you for what he sowed into somebody else. Now I need you to look at this another way. Watch this. He's not coming to you looking for what he sold into your mama and them. And some of us think that we have just as much currency as our forefathers, and some of us, oh God, help me. Some of us have more. Some of us have more, and we're doing less. Okay, let me put it this way. I have more access to information than my grandmother ever had. What am I doing with it? Right? They got all kind of machines now. You can teach AI to pray for you. No, facts. I know somebody who designed an app. You hear what I'm saying? And now you got a machine praying for you. And guess what it does? It sounds incredible. That thing can articulate better than I could ever dream of doing. And watch this. The sound, I hope the church hears me, that sound is going to finesse some of us right out of our faith. You're going to get fleeced right out of your faith. Sheep. Anywho. Some of y'all will catch that 2 times. But you're going to get fleeced out of your faith because now, watch this, because I want it to sound a certain way, there's no relationship. It just sounds. It's unsound, but it just, because it's deceptive, because it makes me feel a certain way. If it does not come from here, say it has to come from my heart. If it doesn't come from our heart, it doesn't count. I promise you the Lord is not coming back for you. Be like, you know what? Man, you made that AI pray, didn't you? Woo! That AI can lift up a prayer to heaven. Oh, shut. He ain't doing it. I stand on that one. I stand on that one. Every man is going to give an account for their. Okay. Say he's coming back to check accounts. Yeah. And so, let me move on here. So, hang on to this. Inaction jeopardizes certain openings. Inaction jeopardizes certain openings. Joy is at stake. I'm going to come back to that. The truth is, inaction equates a negative return. In other words, a loss of value. Let me say that again, that inaction equates a negative return. And so it's a loss of value. Here's the thing, deficient servants defend their dysfunction. Let me say that one more time. I say deficient. How you know you're a deficient servant? You start defending your dysfunction. Did not this deficient servant, I ain't talking about y'all, I'm talking about him. Did he not defend his dysfunction? You ever had somebody that, watch this, you are trying to help them be a better version of themselves. You don't want them to be your version of them. Hello, somebody. You just want to help them be a better version of themselves. And all they do is defend their dysfunction. All they bring to you is excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. Well, this happened. Well, that happened. Well, what are you doing to? Yeah, we're not denying that those things happen. We're not denying that perhaps you've been at a disadvantage. But what is keeping you from working with what you have? Watch this. And if you are aware of your deficiencies, why aren't you working on them? Right? Now watch this. We may never be excellent in every facet of our life, but we can certainly strive towards it. Right? I don't have to be the you know what I'm saying, the subject matter expert, so to speak. But I could be a commodity. You hear what I'm saying? I could be somebody who's dependable. I could be usable. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only posture that the master is looking for anyway. Someone who's willing to be used. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Is anybody in the house willing to be used? My boy got a song say, I feel used and it feels good. I love it. And so these deficient servants are full of excuses and they're ready with deflection. You ever seen somebody the minute you just try to suggest something to them, before you can even halfway get out their mouth, they already done found 5 things wrong about you? Like, I was trying to help. All right, I guess I gotta, okay, you done? It's almost like this servant is trying to deflect the master's character against him. Am I wrong about it? He's deflecting. He's not being accountable for what he's done. He's saying, I know how you act. I know how you get down. You reap, and this is how deflective people that deflect a lot, this is how they sound. It don't even make no sense. I know you reap where you don't sow. But didn't I just give you that currency? So you're trying to cast blame because you don't want to deal with your deficiency. Keying right here, inaction is too costly. Say, inaction is too costly. It's too risky because it's reckless. It's careless. It's flat out reckless, to be honest with you. It's reckless. The text reveals inaction prevents servants from experiencing the joy of the master. This is where I got hung up. Is that inactions prevent servants from experiencing the joy of the master. So does fear, so does deception, so does wickedness, so does laziness. The cost is being cast out. What is the cost of inaction? The cost is being cast out, and it's too expensive for me. It's too costly for me because the master means too much. Watch this. Let me give y'all this piece right here. When you are doing something for somebody you love, right? Your joy, your fulfillment is in their smile. They ain't even got to say thank you. They just got to look thankful. Come on now. I was at a retirement ceremony just yesterday, and both gentlemen that were retirement had given 40 years of service to the department. And the one gentleman, 40 years, and could barely speak. You think 40 years, you have so much to say. Now, some people in certain situations, you're just not talkative, whatever, but he couldn't barely get out words, so he typed out like 3 cards. And the first one was, love y'all. And so, anyway, it's like when you know that you're being appreciated, or like somebody's appreciating you, all we want to see is, hey, let us show you that we recognize what you've given. And that experience, watch this, there was nothing that we were getting out of it. I'm not going into retirement, not yet. Right? Their retirement isn't going to give me a pay raise. It ain't opening up a position for me. But why did I make sure that I was there? Because I didn't have to be there. You hear what I'm saying? I didn't have to be there. But it was the appreciation. appreciation. I just wanted them to know I appreciated them. And watch this. Nothing shows appreciation like presence. No. Not attendance, ladies and gentlemen. Presence. Because there is a, come on somebody, there is a difference between attendance and presence. So we had some, I know we go down this line too much, but it's the truth, right? And I'm glad that that's not the case in this house, but we have attending fathers and we have present fathers. And I'm just glad that I grew up in a house with God help my soul. I said, I'm glad that I grew up in a house with a present father. And I'm glad, watch this, even though my father is resting in his rest now, I still live in a house of a present. Somebody help me say he's present. Okay. I don't know, that thing feel good to me. But say, watch this. Say, we serve a present father. Now, at the same time, and with that same feeling that you just felt in your shanana, that same one, we serve a present master. Watch this. And the master has expectations of his servants. Say, he wants his interest. Say, from me. He wants his interest for me. He's not coming to you for nobody else's interest. He's not coming to the one talent servant for 5. He's coming, hey, double that thing. Increase it. Do something with it. And truth be told, that's why I gave you one in the first place. I already knew you weren't going to do nothing with it. You complaining and tell my son, why they got 5? Because you wouldn't have did nothing with 5. You would have had the same fear would have got you. Right? The thought of being cast out is dreadful for a faithful servant. The thought of it. The thought of missing out on the master's joy is grievous. And so watch this. When the master, when the way the text lays out, when the servants went into service for the master did not promise them a reward. All he gave them was an assignment. So watch this. Can we do what the master bids us to do without the expectation of a reward? Because watch this. They did it and there's no reward present. They did it for service sake. When they got there, what does he say? Well done, my good and faithful servants. Watch this. So he gives them accommodation, but then watch this. He brings them into another dimension. Because now he says what? Enter into your joy. No, enter into the joy of your master. So see, when we serve at the pleasure of the master. God here, we serve in service of the master. So watch this. We know that when he's pleased, we can be pleased. Right? When you're serving somebody, you give them what they want. You give them their expectations. You have to know those expectations, but if you have right relationship, guess what? So there's an indication that this unprofitable servant didn't have right relationship, because how did the other 2 know? 3 servants, same master. 2 know the expectation, 1 don't. What's the difference? Faithfulness and wickedness. That's not my verdict, that's his. The difference between faithfulness and wickedness is knowing and doing according to your master's Say, he expects more out of me. Know this, valuing kingdom values begins with meeting the master's measure. What if I told you a deficit of joy may be to an absence of investment? And some of us are like, where is the joy of my salvation? Where's the joy that I felt when I first got saved? Have you been investing lately? And so sometimes we have to check this. We know Psalms 51 says, restore to me the joy of my salvation. Watch this. Sometimes your restoration is in your investment. Am I invested in what God has given me? Watch this. So I can enter into his joy. Because watch this. Joy is at stake. When you want to enter into certain rooms, it requires certain clearances. So what does that mean? That means that I can't mess up my record, because if there's things on my record, watch this. One of the things about getting into certain security level jobs, one of the criteria is, watch this, you could be completely competent. You could be an expert. If your credit is messed up, they don't trust you. Hold on, I have the qualifications, I have the degrees, I have the experience, but your credit is deficient. So you can be easily compromised because you're in debt. Let me come back over here. I said you can be easily compromised because you're in debt. Here's the unprofitable servant's issue. He doesn't even realize he's in debt. He thinks he's even. Look, because he's deceived. Look, here's what you gave me. Oh, you thought I wanted what I gave you. No. Hear the master's words. I want more. Now, faithful servants can receive that. Deficient servants have an issue. I only have one. Well, you know the problem. Don't miss this. The master wants the investment of his servants. Now, these three we're used to hearing when we talk about this parable. We're used to hearing time, talent, and treasure. What if I told you there's two more? Watch this. Testimony, tending. How are you tending to his business? Because the time you give isn't valuable unless you're tending to his business. So watch this. Spending time in church isn't necessarily tending to his business, because you can just attend church, but you don't have to be. You don't have to be present. So I don't understand why some people check that box, they just show up so, you know what I'm saying, their community can see that they're still in church, so they can still have outside conversations about everybody else in the church except them. And about, what pastor had on, or what pastor did, or what first lady did, or what first lady had on. I can't believe she wore that. Please let me catch you talking sideways out your neck about my wife. I would, you know what? That wasn't even, sorry, that wasn't even, Lord, help my flesh. Help my, whew, sorry, I left. Forgive me, Lord. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Talk to somebody else. Don't let me. He's still working on me. Hey, I yet need a physician. Hey, I feel okay. The master wants the investment of his service. He wants our time. Watch this. He wants our talent. Say my currency. Because that's the truth of the text. He wants our time. He wants our talents. He wants our treasure, which is the talents. Also, he wants our testament. Watch this. The Lord can use your testimony when your testimony is valuable. And he can certainly use your tending, which means that, watch this, that you are doing his business accordingly. Bottom line is not about the amount of currency. It's about the enterprise of increase. Profitable investment is attainable in the hands of faithful servants. The question is the master's investment in good hands? Is the master's investment in good hands? Receive this. The master has graced our hands to be faithful. Do you receive that? That the master, watch this, has graced our hands to be faithful. The truth of the matter is he graced the unprofitable servant to be faithful. He just didn't do it. He was unfaithful. I could see if the master didn't entrust him with anything, different story. He invested him with something. And all he was expecting him to do was to work with the something that he gave him. So the master, watch this, he's put goods into our hands. He's graced our hands to be faithful. Let me close right here that the cost of inaction is detrimental. Faithful servants must take the charge and challenge because sometimes it is challenging. But we got to take the charge and the challenge of investing according to the master's delegation. See, I got to work with what the master's giving me. And he wants more. The currencies we've been given is valuable, usable, is profitable for the master and his kingdom. The master has given currency, he's given value, he's given talents, he's given gifting, he's given grace, he's given blessings, he's given knowledge, he's given wisdom into our hands. What are we doing with it? Watch this. Someone can give you wisdom and you still behave foolish. So watch this. The wisdom has value. You can give someone else that same wisdom and they move with it. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So sometimes we're like, well, I just need different wisdom. No, you need to use the wisdom. Because you've been given wisdom. His word is full of it. Teachings, preachers, and teachers. I'm not even just talking about myself. Full of it. But what are we doing with it? And this is why, as I close, this is why I have a concern about the Lord's church, about the body of Christ, is what are we doing with the messages that we're receiving? What are we doing with the word that we say that we study? What are we doing with the word that we say we believe? What more are we doing with it? Because if I can recite it but I can't live it, it's worthless. Because you know what reciting his word is without relationship? Look, I have what you gave me. I don't know if y'all, that's what reciting the word without relationship is equivalent to the unprofitable servant. I can just give you back what you gave me. I did nothing more with it. This is the cost of inaction, and it's just too much. We can't afford it. Therefore, let's posture ourselves to be profitable servants and begin investing immediately. Give God praise right there.